So let's talk about Matt Damon. We're going to dive into this one critical moment in his career when he figured out that if the perfect role for him didn't exist, well, he was just going to have to write it himself. It's a great story about what happens when you decide to take the wheel when it feels like someone else is driving. You know, for any young actor starting out, this quote is everything. It's the core problem. You spend all your time running around to auditions, just hoping, just waiting. You are, like he says, completely at the mercy of whatever roles happen to be out there. Your entire future is basically in somebody else's hands. It's a waiting game, not a doing game. And really, this is the question every creative person hits at some point. Do you just sit there and wait for the phone to ring, hope that eventually somebody somewhere will notice you? Or do you figure out another way in? For Matt Damon and his best friend Ben Affleck, the answer came from this one single, massive wake-up call. Yeah, this big career-defining moment for him, it didn't come from a big win. It actually came from watching somebody else get a part that he really, really wanted. And the movie that changed everything for him was called Primal Fear. Okay, so the scene is 1996. There's this fantastic part in a huge movie, you know, the kind of role that can literally make a career overnight, and it suddenly opens up. For whatever reason, all the big-name young actors at the time, they all passed on it. And as Damon tells it, the role got kicked down to the jackals. And this created a crazy opportunity. All of a sudden, this whole generation of unknown actors, Matt Damon included, actually had a shot. He spent money he didn't even have to hire a dialect coach and just worked his tail off for that audition. And the competition was just insane. It was a mix of Hollywood's next big things and this ocean of hungry, unknown actors. But in the end, guess who got the role? It wasn't one of the known stars. Nope, it went to a complete unknown, Edward Norton. And he was absolutely incredible in it. For Damon and Affleck, watching another nobody come in and beat out everybody, that was it. That was the final push they needed. This was their light bulb moment. They finally realized that waiting around to be discovered, it was a losing game. If they wanted the kind of amazing parts that could really show what they could do, they weren't going to find them in some casting director's office. They were going to have to build them from the ground up. So how exactly do two young actors just, write an Oscar-winning screenplay? It wasn't from some fancy Hollywood class. The groundwork was actually laid way back in high school, all thanks to one amazing teacher. Yeah, their high school drama teacher, a guy Damon says literally changed their lives, he taught them how to write plays by using guided improvisation. And this collaborative on-your-feet technique, it became the exact method they used to write Good Will Hunting. It was a skill they'd basically been practicing since they were teenagers. Of course, writing the script, that was only half the battle. Getting it made is a whole different story. And that's where another life-changing person comes into the picture. The one and only, the legendary Robin Williams. Look, Robin Williams' involvement was the key that unlocked the whole thing. His star power got the movie a green light, and his performance won him an Oscar. But honestly, his biggest impact on Matt Damon's career happened offset, in this one single casual moment of just being a good guy. Can you even imagine hearing those words? So while they're rehearsing Good Will Hunting, Williams knew that Steven Spielberg was actually filming just across the park. So at the end of the day, he just turns to Damon and Affleck and says, "Hey, you guys want to go meet Steve?" Of course they said yes. And just look at the chain reaction from that one question. Spielberg sees Damon and says, "Hey, I know you," because he'd seen him in the movie Courage Under Fire. Turns out, Spielberg had wanted him for Saving Private Ryan, but thought he was way too skinny. He had no idea Damon had lost 40 pounds for that other role. That one chance meeting that happened only because of Robin Williams changed absolutely everything. Damon got the part, and his career just exploded. So this whole experience of taking control, it didn't just give Damon one great movie, it gave him a whole new philosophy for his career. And it's a philosophy you can see him apply directly to his most iconic franchise, Jason Bourne. This is such a fascinating contrast. You know the James Bond model, right? It's evergreen. You can swap out the actor, give him a new mission, and the series just goes on forever. But with Bourne, they did the exact opposite. They treated each movie like it was the only one they were ever going to make, focusing on getting one story right for a character who had a beginning, a middle, and an end. It was never built to be this never-ending machine. And this whole philosophy, this idea of focusing on the process, not just the final product, has really brought Damon's career full circle. Decades after all that uncertainty in his early days, He found this really profound lesson, not in being comfortable and successful, but in real hardship. While he was working on a film recently, Damon said he was uncomfortable every single day. He was cold, he was wet, he was hungry. But, and this is the amazing part, he also said he deeply enjoyed every minute of it. He was able to get back to that pure joy he felt on his very first movie sets, that feeling of just being so happy to be there, doing the work. A Navy SEAL who was working on the film gave him this incredible piece of advice. He said the discomfort, it's temporary. That feeling is going to pass. The memory you're actually left with is the experience. It's such a powerful way to think about it. Get comfortable in the discomfort, because that is so often where the most important work happens. And that brings us right back to the beginning. Matt Damon's story is just this powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest opportunities in life aren't the ones you wait for. They're the ones you have the guts to write for yourself. So the question to leave you with is, what's yours?